I'm never gonna just tell you to believe in yourself. I'm never gonna tell you to just do it. I'm gonna give you step 1 through 10 of how to become your best self.
I bet if I give all my love, then nothing's gonna tear us apart.
Hi, welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Jazz. I create a lot of content on how to become your best self, self-care, how to glow up, how to become your higher self. So if that sounds like your thing, go ahead, join the family, hit the subscribe button. And if you like content like today's topic, then go ahead and give this video a like. I am very excited to talk about today's topic because not only is it something that I have personally gone through a number of times in my life, but it's something that I am so passionate about that it's my entire niche. It's my entire topic. It's how to become your best self, how to reinvent yourself, how to become your higher self. And I also get so many questions on this topic, and it takes different forms: higher self, reinventing yourself, glowing up. But I feel like reinventing yourself is kind of like a different category for a number of different reasons that we're going to get into today. So if that sounds like your thing, go ahead, keep watching. Today's going to be an amazing episode, and I would love to hear your feedback down in the comments. Y'all are going to ask, my shirt today is from, or it's a dress actually, from Revolve. I will have the exact link for you in the bio. I created a video on TikTok about a week ago, and the topic was how to rebrand yourself, how to reinvent yourself, and it's low-key going viral. So I know it's a topic that people have a lot of questions about, have a lot of passion towards, and I love that because I love talking about this. So I'm gonna break this up into a couple different points. If you don't know me by now, or if you're new here, let me tell you something. I'm never gonna just tell you to believe in yourself. I'm never gonna tell you to just do it. I'm gonna give you step 1 through 10 of how to become your best self, how to do this, the ultimate guide. I'm not gonna give you fluff or anything like that. So bring out your notepad, get some snacks, get some wine. You're gonna write some stuff down, sis. Want a shorter version of this topic? Go ahead to that TikTok video. I think it's like 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes. I will have the link to that also in the bio. Let's go through the actual definition of what reinvention is, because I said in the beginning it's kind of different from a glow up, becoming your higher self. Reinvention is the process or the action of changing something so much that it seems almost entirely new. The second definition, which is the definition that I'm going to probably use more today, is the act or the process of producing something new based on something that has already existed. That is what reinvention is. And that should give you some solace, that should give you some comfort, knowing that you already have the tools for this. You already have the foundation. You've already gone through the life lessons. Now it's all about organizing it and setting it in a clear and constructive path forward towards your higher self. That is what reinvention is. You're not starting from scratch. So don't feel so lost and you don't know where to go. You have all the pieces, but that's why you're here today, so we can help to organize those pieces and reinvent yourself. You're not starting from ground zero, but you might feel like you're in survival mode. And I just want to tell you, you are not meant to be in survival mode. You are meant to thrive, okay? When you're talking about reinventing yourself and you're talking about rebranding yourself, it's very interesting because you know where you're at today. You have a very clear vision of where you're going. You know point A, you know point B, but you don't know exactly the road to get there. So that's why you're here today. But also I want to reemphasize, you're not starting from scratch. This is a reinvention. Breaking this up into 3 main sections, I'm going to give you my own personal reinvention. Now we're going to talk about you. And then we're going to talk about what to do to actually reinvent yourself. You may or may not know, but I have had a lot of reinventions. My latest one was my greatest one. I've already posted a story about that. I would highly recommend going and watching that if you need some motivation. But to make a very, very long story short, I was very successful in school. I ended up going to law school, but little did I know I didn't have a why. Was really passion driven, suffered from a lot of anxiety attacks, had a long episode of depression, gained a lot of weight, had no type of routine, was not praying. My relationship with God was very strained. My hair was falling out, gut was all messed up, skin was breaking out. I was just in a very, very low space. I was also in a toxic relationship, hated my apartment, ended up dropping out of law school because I hated it so much. And that was like really like the root cause of like all of this happening. And there was a period between when I dropped out of law school and when I started business school. And this is what I call my glow up. This is when I call reinventing myself. And I truly mean reinventing myself because my identity for so long was tied to becoming a lawyer. I was going to become a sports and entertainment lawyer. That's what I was going to be. I was going to like do my thing, right? And my Instagram name at the time even was Jazz the Lawyer. But once that identity I kind of formed myself around was stripped away from me, I was left with just almost like I didn't know myself anymore. I was very lost, and I just didn't recognize myself, and I didn't know which direction to turn. And I truly, in that moment, it was a glow up, but it was also a reinvention. You know, hindsight's always 20/20. The way that I went about it, I love the way that I went about it, and I'm going to share with you how you can do that too. But I want to preface this as I was delusional. And I know we hear it all the time on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram, be delulu, be delulu. There is so much merit in that. There's so much merit in being delusional, in your thoughts become your reality and things like that. But I also want this video to start off delusional, but I want this to be a guide on how to turn that delusion into reality. And I think that process is the process of reinventing yourself. Now I want to talk about you. I don't know where you're at in your life. I don't know if you've lost your job, if you're going through a breakup right now, if you've lost a friend, if you're starting a new job, if you're starting school, if you're moving away, if there's just a big life transition, or maybe you're just sick of your own shit. I don't know where you're at in your life. Also, feel free to vent in the comments. I love when we vent. It feels more personable. Also, you guys get to like see other people that are like going through the same stuff or similar stuff as you, and it makes you feel better. Like the comments are just our little like therapy session. I love it. But I don't know what you're going through in life. Nobody knew what I was going through in that life. I didn't talk to anybody about it. Nobody knew how much I was suffering in law school. Nobody knew how toxic my relationship was. Only I did, and it became very, very heavy, and that's when the anxiety and the depression and everything started to weigh on me. So let's talk about you. The first thing I want you to do is pause. I just want you to pause. I have found, and I kind of just found myself doing this the other day, when I was worried about so many different things in so many different directions at one time. And, you know, they would be circulating through my head every single day, and I would be thinking about them the entire day. And I never for a second sat down and just kind of took like a pause on everything and really sat down with my feelings. I felt like my feelings were like following me everywhere. But very rarely did I just sit on my couch and truly like feel my feelings. I don't know how to put it more eloquently, but I hope you know what I'm talking about. Like you go throughout your day, like let's say you're struggling about finances, right? And you're going throughout your day and you're just thinking like, oh, it pops in your head. How do I pay for this? How do I pay for this bill? How am I going to pay for this in the future? How am I going to pay for this? How I want to take this vacation. How am I going to afford this? How am I going to afford this? But very rarely do you sit down on the couch and just be like, what is the root cause of this issue? Why am I feeling this way? Are some of the things that I'm feeling so far out in the future? Why am I even worrying about them? I never really sat down and unpacked what I truly was feeling. So I just want you to just pause for a second, understand how you got here, try to work through how you got there, try to work through how you're feeling right now, what's impacting it, things like that. I remember when I just dropped out of law school, I had all of these feelings like, what are people gonna say? Like, are people gonna think I'm stupid? Like, are people gonna like make up rumors about me? Like, how am I gonna reinvent myself? Like, this was my whole identity. And then I like sat down and I was like, Jasmine, you're dropping out of law school. This is the reality. What are you going to do about it? I know you feel sad. I know you feel like you're not good enough. I know you feel uncomfortable with quitting something. I know you're scared about what people are going to say. I know you're scared about, did you just waste years and years of your life? I know you're scared, right? Just feel it. Like, I feel scared right now. All right. I'm worried. I don't know where to turn. I just sat down and I felt the feelings that were kind of in the back of my head throughout my mind throughout the day, and I just sat down and I felt it. But you know what I'm gonna say next, sis? You cannot sit there with your feelings. You can't let it consume you. So once you've sat down and just faced the reality of what's happening, I've fallen off, I've lost my job, I'm starting a new job, I've just left a relationship, I'm just starting a relationship, whatever it may be, once you just sit down and come to terms with it, you guys know what I'm gonna say, you're going to journal. Have these feelings in you, it needs an outlet. It needs to be down on paper. It needs to be released from your body. Now, this is when you start to reinvent yourself. You're gonna pause, you're gonna reflect, and you're gonna start to journal. Now, there's two different processes that you're going to do with your journaling. You're gonna do a journal more focused on your internal glow up, the things that are going on right now, and then you're going to do a day in your life of your higher self. So let's first talk about the internal work with journaling. Now, what I recommend is I would go on Pinterest, or I would find a dedicated journal. My highest recommendation is always to do shadow work. There's a great, I'll link it down below, but there's a great like 14-day or 7-day shadow work journal. Right, however many you want, whatever. But we need to get to the root causes of not only what's currently going on in your life, but some of the things that may be holding you back from the things that are about to come into your life. We've really got to unpack what even got us to this point, because that breakup, that new job, that feeling stuck in life, that was just the tip of the iceberg. There's so much stuff that led up to that point. There's so many feelings that led up to that point. Childhood led up to that point. Family led up to that point. You led up to that point, you know? So we need to start to unpack what led up to that point so it doesn't impact this new and improved version of ourselves that we're trying to recreate. Not only do we not want it to impact that version, we want to understand the strengths that we got from the lessons that we've learned up until this point so that we can apply them to our higher self. Again, I'm gonna go back to the definition of reinvention. It's a process, it's the act of creating something new based on what has already been there. What is there right now? It's not nothing. You've actually learned a whole bunch through all of the stuff that you've been through. The friendship breakups, the losing the job, the having no money, to losing a whole bunch of weight, to gaining a whole bunch of weight, to your skin breaking out. You've learned a bunch. It's almost like the person that you see with a whole bunch of acne on your face. I bet they know everything about acne. I bet they know a whole bunch more than anybody else about it. I bet you look at the person that you might see as overweight. I bet you know they know everything about weight loss. You know, don't take for granted your current situation, the lessons that you've learned to try to correct whatever problem that you've been trying to correct. This is gonna come out in journaling. That's why I really recommend shadow work. Shadow work and journaling in general, whatever journal prompt, whatever journal it might be, is going to surface up and be like, you know what, a big problem for me is abandonment issues. You know, the root cause of this is self-esteem, it's confidence, this is where I know where I need to head. And from there, you can take those lessons and you can enroll in therapy. And when the therapist asks, what do you want to get out of this? You know, okay, you know what, abandonment issues keep popping up. This is what I want to work on. Or if you want to do some self-healing, then that's when you like turn to resources and self-help books and podcasts that are focused around that topic that kept coming up in that shadow work, that kept coming up in that journaling. This is where it starts to get a little bit fun. This is when we start to truly, truly reinvent ourselves. We know what we have to work on, right? So this is when you're going to want to pick a character. I've gotten some kind of weird feedback on TikTok and they're just like, oh, you're in an identity crisis if you choose a character. You have to understand that life is a game. Life is so unserious. Like life is so unserious. And you tapping into a character, it's almost like tricking your mind into doing something. Whether you're tapping into a character for a month or you're tapping into a character for the next week, for the next year, for the next 5 years. What a character does is it makes it so you're not starting from scratch. Again, a reinvention is a process or the act of creating something new based on what has already been there. So when you pick a character, you kind of already know what that character's day-to-day life is. You already know how they carry themselves. You already know what they would talk about. You're not starting from scratch. So that's why picking a character and that whole concept of picking a character is very easy because it provides such a guide and such a map without you having to start from scratch. But then you can start to weave in the own inner work and the inner healing that you got from journaling into that new character. For this video, I am going to use the concept of the feminine woman, a truly feminine woman. Let's say I truly want to step into my femininity. I truly want to step into my modesty. I truly want to step into truly maybe meeting a man or meeting a partner that is that masculine, that is that dominant, that is that stable force. And I want to truly step into my feminine, my flowing, my power, things like that. My character is a classy, modest, feminine woman. Maybe that is my character. From there, once I pick a character, I start to not feel so lost. Characters can be classy, modest, feminine woman. Maybe a Pilates bae. Maybe you're really trying to work out. Maybe a calm and serene meditation teacher. Maybe a yogi. Maybe a corporate baddie. Maybe a fun and adventurous skydiver. Once you've picked your character, like I said in this example, I'm using classy, modest, feminine woman, you're gonna look for inspiration. This is kind of more so when you start to pick like the celebrities and the inspiration and stuff like that, but this is so much is going on Pinterest and scrolling through images of feminine women, just consuming content that's feminine, that's classy. You start to look for inspirations, Google images, TikTok, Instagram, following pages like that. You just want to start to see what this character looks like and start to get an idea of their day. The second thing you're going to want to do in this journaling part, we've already journaled, we already know where we're at, we know the reality, right? And now we're stepping into delusion. Now we're trying to pick a character. Again, our character is classy, modest, feminine woman. You're going to grab another sheet of paper for your journal and you're going to write a day, a simple day, a typical day, every day in the life of this classy, modest, feminine woman, from when she wakes up to when she goes to sleep. This feminine woman, you really want to focus on taking care of yourself, physically, emotionally. You want your day to also have a partner in it, a very dominant, loving, provider type of husband. You want your days to flow. You want to be surrounded by other feminine women. Maybe your day looks like she wakes up at 5 a.m. very, very slowly to her birds chirping alarm clock. And she wakes up in a beautiful, neutral, monochromatic, beautiful home, all provided by her man. She feels very safe. She wakes up and she's in her silk pajamas and she still smells the expensive body butter she put on from the night. She gets up and she starts to put on her really cute workout outfit for her Pilates class with her very, very good friend. She gets into a Range Rover. She exits her neighborhood. She arrives at class. She has a really good workout with her friend, grabs smoothies together because she's really trying to work on her health and she feels really good after that smoothie. And she comes home and her husband has made her breakfast and she feels so blessed. Like, you need to go into how she's feeling, what she's doing in the day, what time is she waking up, what body butters, what is she driving, what does her car look like, how does she feel about certain things. You really, really need to go into depth about what this character is doing during their day. This is when we start to compare the two journals. We start to compare, where we're at right now, our shadow work, our journaling, like where we're at right now, to a day in the life of this reinvented person, this character that we've designed for ourselves. And what you're gonna do, almost very business-like, you're going to cross-reference them. You can do this in a number of different ways. One of the easiest ways that I have found is I'll take friendship trauma, right? I'll take, something that's coming up in shadow work is, making friends. It seems to be really hard for me. It's something that I really want. But in this day in the life of my higher self, in the day of this life of the character, she met a really feminine, good best friend that makes her feel good and makes her feel confident. So I write those two down, those two parallel. What I'm missing in my life right now and this lifestyle that I'm creating for this person, I write those down. Maybe I'm really struggling to create a routine in my life, waking up early. Like, that's something that I really haven't found that I could stick to right now. And I feel like it's throwing me off. But in the day of my life of my higher self, she's waking up at 5 a.m. She has energy and stuff like that. I write those parallels down. When you write a day in your life of your higher self, what this character is, you will find, hopefully you will find, that a majority of the stuff in her day is very accessible in things that you can start doing today. You can start to wake up at 5 a.m. you can't snap your fingers and have a feminine best friend, but you can start surrounding yourself in environments to meet those women. You can start to eat those healthy breakfasts. You can start to make those smoothies at home. You can start to save up for those expensive body butters, or they don't even have to be expensive. Maybe you start to really hone in on your hygiene routine. You can start to maybe invest in some really good pajamas that make you feel good. There are things in the higher selves, the characters day to day, that are free 99 that you can start doing today. And again, a reinvention is something that is created that almost seems entirely new, but it's based off of an original version. It's based off of you. You're simply just reinventing. You're simply bridging the line of that shadow work in that journal that you're doing and the Delulu character that you've created. You're just creating that line, that process, that middle ground, that point A to B, that path is called a reinvention. You should also know that when you are journaling, when you are doing the shadow work and you're all doing this, it should give you solace once you reach into this Delulu part. This is for the plot. This is for the plot. And once you've kind of shifted your perspective, just be like, you know what? My life is a movie. This is my character that I've chosen. Me not having friends right now, this is part of the plot. Like, if I look at the grand scheme, if I were to view my life in the movie, this is just part of the movie where I don't have friends, and I'm learning what I do want in friendships, and I am putting myself out there and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, all the lessons when I do have friendships and I'm later on in the movie and I do have that feminine best friend and I do have that friend that makes me feel confident, I feel good, I wouldn't be able to appreciate that friend if I didn't at one time not have friends. Let me speak a word to you. God is not going to ever put something in your life that you cannot handle. God is never going to put anything into your life that you can't handle, all right? So you want all of this money. You want to make $10,000 a month. You want to make $20,000 a month. You want to make whatever it is a month. All right. Do you know how to budget? Do you know how to handle that type of money? God starts bringing in $30,000 in your life. Are you going to blow it at the mall? Are you going to waste it away? Or is God going to take away your money? Is God going to not make you lose your job, but is God going to put you in situations that's going to force you to budget? It's going to force you to learn about credit cards. That's going to force you to become financially responsible so that when he does start to bring in those $30,000 into your life, you don't mess it up. Is God going to bring in great best friends into your life for you to sour those relationships because you haven't worked on yourself? No, God is going to isolate you so you work on yourself so that you can be a good friend to people. So when you do have those good friends, you don't mess it up. All right. The obstacle is the way. All right. You losing your job, it's part of the plot. You not having any friends, it's part of the plot. You starting a new job, it's part of the plot. All right. This is just the moment in the movie where the character is gearing up for their big break. All right. It's just part of the plot. You gotta be Delulu. God is going to end that relationship because you don't know if your husband is there in the next 6 months. He said, I have this amazing guy waiting for you, but you will not let this go. You will not let this go. Don't do the inner work. If you don't do the healing, if you don't let this relationship go, I can't bring this person into your life because you're going to mess it up. You're going to sabotage it. I'm not about to introduce great things in your life if you are not already great, if you cannot already handle them. So you have to see these things in your life as just lessons, as just part of the plot. I'm losing my job right now. I'm going to really work on my resume. I'm going to start adding things to my resume. I'm going to start to network with different people. And maybe I get this job, but through my job hunting process, I networked with that one person. And then maybe 10 years later, that person comes back around and it's very useful. You never know the lessons that you are being taught right now, how valuable they're going to be for later in the movie. You've done the work on yourself. You've picked a character, written out that higher self, you've cross-referenced kind of what you need to work on. Now we get into, this is why routines are so important. This is why I preach about routines. This is why everybody preaches about routines. You think we're just talking? We're not just talking. Again, I'm going to keep on saying this. Reinvention is creating something based off of something that was already there, something entirely new, but it was already based off of something. How do you think we get from point A to point B? We do it through our little routines. We do it through our morning routine. We do it through our work routine. We do it through our nighttime routine. Routines are so important because it pulls our delusional character in our head into reality, right? Our character wakes up at 5 a.m. and feels good and rested, okay? Routines, that night routine, is how we start to pull that idea that we might have written out on a page or what we put on our vision board. Routines is how we pull that delusion into our reality, all right? My recommendation would be 1, to start with the morning routine, and 2, to start small. Now, the best way for me to create a morning routine is 1, to yes, draw inspiration on me or other content creators or anybody else or your higher self's version. I think it's a lot better to consume content and actually see what a morning routine looks like. But don't just jump in the next day and be like, I'm gonna wake up at 5 a.m. and then I'm gonna meditate and then I'm gonna do some stretches, then I'm gonna go work out and then I'm gonna eat a healthy breakfast. You're going to lose it so quickly. You have to start building a morning routine. That's why they say build a morning routine. So you start every single day. I recommend a gratitude journal. I'll put my favorite gratitude journal. It's called the 5-minute journal in the bio. But you start with a gratitude journal and you say, you know what? Every single day I'm going to do this 5-minute journal. And at the end of the week, I'm going to reward myself. And then once you've done a week and you've proven to yourself that you're just an inch closer, you know, this is what my higher self, this is what my character does. My character every single day journals. Like, I can do that today. It's not far-fetched. It's not crazy. Every single day my character meditates. Like, that's what makes her feel grounded, and that's what makes her feel centered. Every single day my feminine character makes herself presentable before she goes and runs errands. So I'm going to put on a little bit of makeup in my morning routine. I'm going to start including that, and I'm going to prove to myself, you know, if I'm trying to be a classy and I'm going to try to be a feminine woman, every single day before I leave my house, or even if I stay in my house, I'm gonna put on a little concealer, I'm gonna do my hair, and I'm gonna put on a cute outfit. I'm gonna do that every single day because that's what my character does. That's what I see in my head. I prove that to myself every single day for a week, and I reward myself. And I keep building on top of it. Let's say you start every single day with the 5-minute journal and you've done that for a week. You know what? My higher self has this whole routine, and I can see in her day she meditates and then she journals. You know what? I'm gonna start meditating and journaling, I start that for another week. And then all of a sudden you will start adding in the working out, the eating healthy, things like that. You're gonna start adding it, but you have to prove yourself in incremental amounts. Not only is it like a confidence booster, it's almost like a game, but it's also for the plot. Like, let this be your building phase, you know? Let this be the part of the movie where it's just music and you're just working on your routine and you're just bettering yourself. Do it for the plot. To understand, when you're reinventing yourself, I saw this great metaphor on TikTok. If I remember the content creator's name, I will put it down below. But you do realize our life is made up of what we give our attention to. I want to say that again. Our life is made up of what we get attention to. This is going to sound very, very silly, right? But if you have the TikTok app, TikTok's whole algorithm and platform and motive is to get you to stay on the app. And it's less about what you like, and it's less about what your interests, and it's more about what you're getting your attention to. Let's say you really like golden retrievers, but you keep clicking and liking and commenting and giving your engagement and getting your attention to Yorkies. Your For You page on Instagram, on TikTok is gonna be Yorkies, even though you like golden retrievers, because that's what you're giving your attention to. So you have to kind of extrapolate that into real life. You might want to stay in bed. You might want to feel stuck. It feels better to just be lazy and stuff like that. Your life is made up about what you give attention to. All of a sudden you're looking at cute workout outfits in your bed, right? And then all of a sudden you're a little bit more excited to go to the gym. And then all of a sudden you're researching gyms, and that's what your attention is brought onto. And then you go to this new gym, and then you start meeting friends at this gym, and then you want to try out new workouts. You might have wanted to stay in bed, you might have wanted to stay lazy, but all of a sudden you start giving your attention to this new thing, and that attention becomes your reality. I recommend having a higher self day or a character day. Again, if your character is a classy, feminine, modest woman, looking at the things that you wrote in your day-to-day and try to see if you can recreate that for a day. Take off work, take a day off, take a Saturday, take a Sunday, and maybe you get an Airbnb, or maybe you really clean up your house, you get cleaners, you make it look nice and fresh, and all of a sudden, you know what, just for the plot today, I'm gonna have a higher self day. I'm gonna wake up in the morning. She woke up at 5 a.m. I'm gonna wake up at 5 a.m. I'm gonna follow her routine that I wrote out. I'm just gonna have a higher self day. I'm gonna put on my expensive body butters. even though that's not my current reality, I'm just going to live this life even just for a day. And I'm going to feel what it feels like. And this is why physical manifestation is so powerful. Also, when you are reinventing yourself, make sure to tap into your resources. Your resources should be people, places, habits, and content. So people, when you're reinventing yourself, making sure you're surrounding yourself with feminine women, or women that bring out that femininity, women that like to maybe get dressed up, that like to go to dinner, compliment you, give you confidence, someone that can be vulnerable, things that you can talk about, people like that, and meeting people and bringing people into your life that match this new character. Also putting yourself physically in places that this character would be at. If she is a classy, is she a feminine woman, maybe she's taking etiquette classes, maybe she's at Pilates classes, maybe she's at golf lessons, maybe she's at a coffee shop in an affluent neighborhood, whatever it may be. And also habits, looking at the habits of this classy feminine woman. You know, this is really where that day in the life that we wrote out, what do her habits look like? What does she do? Does she make herself presentable when she's going to grocery shop? Does she only buy comfortable shoes because she's walking around a lot and she's going here and here and here? Is she a corporate woman? Does she always make sure to write out her tasks at the end of the day? Do it for the plot. And then lastly, content. When you are reinventing yourself, whether you have to delete all of your social media, all your pictures and all your stuff and create brand new stuff, if you need to change up your environment, change up the color scheme, if you need to get a new wardrobe, content, what you see is everything. Make content work for you. Following feminine pages, following feminine influencers, consuming that content, making sure when you're logging on to social media, you're learning something, or you're being motivated by something, or you're being inspired in something, making sure social media works. Then you're going to keep reassessing. Again, if you want to be very organized about this glow up, about this reinvention, you can break it up into, you know, this is the physical aspect of my reinvention, and this is the internal aspect of my reinvention. Physical aspect of my reinvention, when I'm looking at the classy feminine woman, it's her style, it's her teeth, it's her skin, it's her hair, it's the way that she takes care of her gut health, it's the way that she works out, it's her body. She's really good with her finances. She always budgets, she always makes sure everything is in order. She really works on her confidence. She's very kind to people. Making sure you're constantly reassessing if this character is still the character that you want to be, and don't ever be afraid about switching up characters however many times you want. Maybe you're a classy feminine woman for Q1, and then Q2 you're a fitness bae. You are a fitness bae. You are in the gym every single day. You are lifting weights. And then maybe Q3, you're just on your adventure kick and you want to travel and you want to save up, and all of a sudden you're researching travel points and everything like that. Don't be afraid to switch up your characters. Life is so unserious. Be Delulu. I hope you have found this video so helpful. I hope it was resourceful. I hope it was guided. I tried to make it very broad instead of very personalized, but I tried to also include my own examples, some examples to follow about a classy feminine woman, because that's currently what I'm trying to do. But I tried to make it broad so that you can apply all of these tips to your own life, to your own character. It is so completely fine to switch up, to do your own thing. You don't want to be so focused on what are people going to say and what are people going to think. Like, you have to let that go. You have to let that go, because people are so introspective of their own self that I promise you it's going to be a fleeting thought about if you're trying to reinvent yourself. And if you're around people that are doubting that reinvention, then they were never your friends in the first place. And you need to be around friends and family and people that support you continuously trying to become a better you. If you like this content, if you've liked this video, again, go ahead and give this video a like. And if you are not part of the family and you love content like this and you're trying to reinvent yourself, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, y'all.